I watched a lot of TV growing up. That means sometimes I would run out of shows on the usual kids channels such as Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon and Disney Channel. So I would scour my TV box and hop on over to Pop Girl, which I found out whilst researching this video has since shut down. Rest in peace, Queen. Pop Girl had shows such as 16, Ruby Gloom, Winx Club and of course Sally Bollywood. I have never heard another person mention this show, yet it has been on my mind since 2009. The show revolves around Sally Bollywood, who is a young Indian girl. In case you could not guess by the very subtle name they gave her, she is an ace detective, or she's trying to become one. She solves crime in her city of Cosmopolis alongside her best friend and partner, Dewey. Yes, that is his real name. Dewey is an inventor who has made gadgets such as a ray-activated lie detector, an electromagnetic lockpicker, and a photomorpher that turns pictures into masks, and he made many more things. This is not the Dewey show, so we're going to stop here. The show was made in collaboration between the French company Tele-Images Kids and the Australian company Freezer Company. The show started in 2009 and it made 104 episodes across 2 seasons, those episodes being 11 to 13 minutes long, and the show ended in 2013. The show was made using Flash animation, which explains the quality of some of the scenes you're about to see. The first episode is The Case of the Missing Cockroach. The actual name is Cockroach Cappers. I liked my title better, so we're going with that. This is Albert. Someone has robbed his cockroach. So he goes to the SBI, the Sally Bollywood investigations, to ask them to find his cockroach. But before Sally can start the case, her father says she's not allowed to do any more investigating until her math grade improves, which makes no sense if you watch the rest of the series, because they constantly praise her for how good she is at maths. That's not the only inconsistency they have with her grades, because somehow she's always failing gym class, but she is well known for good she is at sports. It makes no sense. Anyway, Sally and Dewey completely ignore her father and investigate the case anyways. They find a face printed on the classroom door. Does no one clean the school? That's disgusting. They find out who the face print belongs to in a very scientific way, aka they just hold it up until they find the weirdo who has their head shaped like this. It matches this guy called Bob. They go to question Bob, but he gets away. Sally and Dewey track him down to an underground cockroach racing club. I mean, they race roosters, they race babies, so why not cockroaches? Whilst at the cockroach club, they see Bob get pickpocketed by the woman who Sally's father was hired to track down. The two of them risk getting caught to help her dad catch the pickpocketer, but luckily they managed to get away without being seen. They get the cockroach and then Bob chases after them and tries to fight Sally, but is easily defeated. They return the cockroach to Albert and he offers to tutor Sally, which again makes no sense. She literally tutors people in future episodes and gets top grades in her class in math, and I doubt this one tutoring session led her to being a top math student. But moving on, I guess. She is now allowed to be a detective again because of her new grade. I feel like this is a good first episode for the show, in my opinion. It tells you everything you need to know about Sally and who she is. She wants to be a detective so that she can follow in her father's footsteps. Also, it shows she will stop at nothing to solve a case, even if it involves breaking and entering. And she does that a lot in the show. The show is clearly heavily influenced by aspects of Indian culture. She's wearing a bindi and a sari. The show is very tongue-to-cheek when it comes to showing any culture. How was Bollywood the most creative name they could come up with? I know it's a kids show, but they could have tried a bit harder, is all I'm saying. They continue using aspects of the Indian culture when it comes to decorating Sally's house, along with the traditions that they use in the show, which they have a lot of. The show is meant to show what it's like to be a detective, and they do show the possible dangers of the world of detectives. The episode Trouble at the Museum, when Sally and Dewey are tricked by this girl called Sunita into investigating a broken vending machine at a museum, they end up getting kidnapped by art smugglers to be used as blackmail against Harry Bollywood, who was investigating the missing art, catch them in the end. And they use this episode as a bonding moment for Sally and her dad because they covered the case together. And that is one thing I really like about this show, is Sally's relationship with her dad. When Sally was accused of theft in the episode Double Trouble, and all the evidence pointed towards her, father still believed her without a shadow of a doubt. He also encourages her detective business, making Harry Dad of the Year over here. In the Bollywood household, there's also Mrs. Apu, who is Sally's housekeeper, who is also shown to care deeply for Sally, as we see in the episode I just mentioned. When she finds out about the kidnapping, she literally faints. The combination of her father, Mrs. Apu, and Dewey, Sally has a very good support system around her in the show, who always encourage her with her cases, even when she hits dead ends. It's really nice to see an encouraging, supportive family. One episode that caught my eye was the episode Mr. Big. Sally and Dewey have not had a case in a whole month, and when Mrs. Apu suggests shutting down SBI and turning Sally's office into a laundry room, this freaks Sally out, so she goes to look for the cause of their dry spell. They find out that there's another child detective that's come to their town, called Mr. Big. They find his office, which has a high-tech security system alongside Mr. Big and his child sweatshop detectives. Sally finds out Mr. Big charges for his cases, and she calls him exploitative. Mr. Big calls her a bad detective. As Sally and Dewey storm out of the building after the two call each other names, Mr. Big offers Dewey a job at his detective agency, but he rejects it. Sally decides to steal one of Mr. Big's cases and goes looking for the girls' missing trophies. But Mr. Big solves the case first, and a frustrated Sally takes her anger out on Dewey, so he quits and goes to work for Mr. Big. Sally goes to find a teddy bear that belongs to the sister of the girl with the stolen trophies. Whilst looking, she finds the button of Mr. Big that he lost before he even came to look for the trophies, proving to Sally that Mr. Big is the one who stole the trophies so that he could find them. Sally goes to Mr. Big's office and she meets up with Dewey, who, surprised, didn't actually quit and he was going undercover to spy on Mr. Big. It was pointless in my opinion. He didn't find anything whilst working for him. The only thing him working there led to was Mr. Big having control of Dewey's fighting glove, which he uses to try and make Dewey fight Sally. Whilst Dewey and Sally are fighting, Mr. Big does his villain speech. I'm more concerned with Sally's life. She could have died. Look at the hole Dewey left in this wall. This is concrete. I'm pretty sure he could probably punch through her head. Imagine he actually hit her. Also, if he was faking all his detective work and he was actually the one causing all the crimes that were happening and then solving them, what were these children doing? What was their purpose? They actually kidnapped children that he was going to say he found? Anyway, Dewey recorded his whole villain confession and everyone sees Mr. Big closes down. This means the SBI headquarters does not get changed into a laundry room. Yay. The main reason I like this episode is it showed Sally's passion for solving crimes. 1. She never takes payments and she thinks justice is its own reward. 2. The reason she actually solved the entire case was that Mr. Big rejected the case of the missing teddy bear because he deemed it too small. Sally took the case because she believed that everyone deserves help no matter how small their problem is. That opinion of hers is further solidified in the episode From Bombay with Love, when Sally gets hired by this actress called Kareena Khan to find out who is secretly taking pictures of her and selling them to the paparazzi to make her look bad. And even though Kareena is a complete menace to work with, Sally pushes through to find the truth because she believes in justice. There is a lot of red herrings in this show. For those of you who don't know what a red herring is, it is when writers purposely mislead you with subtle clues to lead you away from the real culprit. In the episode George's Forced Labour, where this kid George is being forced to do homework assignments, so Sally and Dewey look to see whose grades have improved since the start of George's blackmail. And the only kid who started getting better grades same time George started getting blackmailed is this kid Jason. So Sally attacks him and accuses him of blackmailing George. Turns out he just studied more and it had nothing to do with George. Yeah, a lot of people in the show get accidentally beaten up when they did nothing wrong. They also have a chase scene in every episode, and somehow every perpetrator has enhanced agility to be able to avoid the backflipping Sally. And apparently she has these abilities because she's an expert in martial arts. She also has superhuman speed. In the episode that I previously mentioned, George's Forced Labour, Sally somehow keeps up with someone on a bike who is cycling away from her at full speed and she's just running alongside them. So the question of the video, why has everyone forgotten about this show? Each episode shows us the crime being committed and then we get a bunch of red herrings, there's a chase scene, and then it ends with a weird musical number. None of the episodes particularly stand out, making them very easy to forget. It being episodic doesn't help, meaning that the slate of the show is wiped when the episode ends. So a character will commit actual crimes in an episode, like in the episode Don't Touch My Lucky Charm, where a girl breaks into someone's house to steal their good luck charm, and then she loses it to a sewer gator at the end of the episode, and then they all move on. No one actually suffers consequences, and this made catching the villain very hollow, in my opinion. There's other mystery solving episodic TV shows like Scooby-Doo, but it doesn't matter what happens to the villains after the episode, after they've been caught by Scooby and the gang, because they move on to the next town. But in Sally, it's in one location. We see people who was caught in the previous episode being best friends with Sally in the next one. I feel like someone should be trying to take revenge on her. She has no arch nemesis, and I feel that she should. Something else I want to mention is the voice acting in the show is interesting to say the least. Within the main cast of Sally, Dewey, Harry, and Mrs. Apu, these are the same voice actors over and over and over again. They all either have Scottish, Irish, or Australian accents, so I have no real idea where this show is set. The show has attempts to be very diverse, which is shown in the episode International Day, where they show that all the kids in the class, different cultural backgrounds, showcasing their cultures is just full of stereotypes. This German kid just holding a pack of sausages. There's more to the German culture than that. So if you're looking for an easy show to watch, it's there. You don't have to think whilst watching a show at all. They give away the villains very easily. But if you're looking for something with more depth, yeah, this show is very forgettable. And that will be all on the Forgotten Show, Sally Bollywood. That will be all for today. Hope you have a great day. Solve a crime. Goodbye.